I'll never forget that moment. The argument started like any other, small, meaningless at first, but escalated in a way I couldn't have predicted. We were in the kitchen, the air thick with the smell of coffee and burnt toast, and I had asked her a simple question about dinner plans. "I'm not your housewife," she shouted, her voice cutting through the morning quiet like glass breaking. For a split second, the words didn't register. I just stood there, frozen, staring at her, my hand still holding the mug I hadn't even drunk from. Then the room seemed to tilt, like gravity itself had shifted. I could feel the eyes of the neighbors through the thin walls, imagining them hearing this explosion of anger that had nothing to do with burnt toast. I calmly placed my mug on the counter. "I know," I said, my voice steady measured, "and I never wanted you to be." Her face twisted in disbelief. "What? You don't care? After all this, you just say that?" I shook my head, trying to keep my own emotions in check. "I care more than anything, but not because you're fulfilling a role I expect. Because you're you, and I love you." For a moment, her anger faltered, replaced by something unreadable. I wanted to reach out, to touch her hand, but something inside me hesitated. That hesitation was born for months. No, years of small doubts, whispers, and subtle betrayals had begun to gnaw at the edges of my heart. It wasn't sudden. It started with the little things. Missed calls, vague excuses, late nights with friends that always seemed to end with an extra hour or two. I questioned myself first. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was overthinking. But my gut told me something was off. One night, while she was in the shower, I picked up her phone. I swore I'd never done anything like that before, but growing unease had pushed me over the edge. There were messages, innocent on the surface, teasing, flirty. I froze at one line. "Can't wait to see you tonight. He'll never know." My heart sank. I closed the phone slowly, trying to convince myself I was reading it wrong. But the doubt had already taken root, spreading like wildfire through every memory we shared. Was that smile at the park just an act? Did the gentle good night mean anything at all? I began watching more closely, observing the way she hit her phone, the way she laughed a little too hard at certain messages, the way she avoided my gaze when I asked simple questions about her day. Each small deception felt like a needle in my chest, and I started second-guessing not just her actions, but my own perceptions. The breaking point came during dinner. I found a folded note slipped into the back of a book I'd given her years ago. My hands shook as I unfolded it. "He's starting to notice. Keep it casual. Don't let him see the text." The betrayal was no longer subtle. It was in ink in plain sight. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted to understand, to see the truth with my own eyes, to prepare myself for whatever explanation or excuse was coming. Days passed in a haze. I replayed our conversations, our shared moments, everything now tainted with suspicion. And then one evening, she came home late, the scent of perfume I didn't recognize lingering on her clothes. I finally asked a question that had haunted me for weeks. "Are you seeing someone else?" Her eyes filled with tears, not the performative kind, but raw, trembling guilt. She swallowed hard. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was lonely. I felt invisible. I know it's wrong, but I held up my hand. "Stop. I don't want excuses. I just want the truth." She nodded, and in that moment, the floodgates opened. She told me everything. The fleeting moments of temptation, the text, the guilt that had been eating her alive. Listening, I felt a storm of emotions, anger, heartbreak, relief that the truth was finally out, and sorrow for the love I thought was unshakable. But I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just listened. And when she finished, I said quietly, "I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. But I still see you, the real you, not the facade or the mistakes. I still love you." Her sobs racked the room, and I held her, feeling her tremble against me. The house was silent, except for our ragged breathing. And in that silence, I made a choice, not to punish, not to retaliate, but to reclaim my own strength, to set boundaries, to insist on honesty, and to rebuild trust if possible. The days that followed were tentative, painful. We spoke endlessly, dissecting every memory, every hidden glance, every lie. I realized that betrayal doesn't just hurt in the moment. It lingers, coloring even the brightest memories with doubt. And yet, it also forced me to confront my own resilience, my capacity for understanding, and my unwillingness to let anger define me. Months later, we sat together in the same kitchen where it all began. The morning sun streamed through the window, catching dust motes that danced like tiny promises in the air. I looked at her and said softly, "I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for honesty. That's all I need." She smiled, small and tentative, but genuine. I can do that. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt a quiet strength settle into my chest. I had faced betrayal, heartbreak, and fear, and I was still standing, not because the pain was gone, but because I refused to let it define me. Sometimes, love isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's measured, patient, and quietly brave. That morning, in the kitchen, we weren't perfect. We were human, and for now, that was enough.